more than a discussion. Let it be a spark, a moment where we lean into compassion, not as a lofty idea, but as a way of being. Thank you. With that, let us initiate the event with the lighting of the butter lamp. I would like to invite Rinpoche La, Tenzin La, and all our esteemed panelists from the Islamic, Hindu, and Jewish traditions to come forward and light their traditional Tibetan butter lamp. This ritual symbolizes the illumination of wisdom and compassion. The prayer to accompany the lamp lighting is Shijue and will be chanted by our local monks.
Dogi tirong ni dobala tu sa sanje kanjo chale ma ngojo shaje nyesho ma yanjo pa nambe cha shi sho tembo pa jalami shabe de tenze jive sa de yonla Tempe chanda nga don jo ba ji tempa yere ni be cha shi sho.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Lobsang Tundrup Okasang La to offer the official welcome address.
Uh, 90 years ago, a light was born into this world, a blossom of wisdom, compassion, and resilience. His Holiness, the great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, stands not merely as a spiritual leader, but as a symbol of peace, a guardian of knowledge, and a bridge between traditions. He teaches the world that compassion isn't just possible, it is our greatest strength. For 9 decades, he has reminded us that every single day we have a choice. We can choose understanding over anger. We can choose connection over division. Today, we gathered here to interact, dialogue, understand, and make connection for a global harmony in honor of His Holiness's 90th birthday. It is fair to start the event with his favorite prayer as he recites every morning. Here goes the prayer. For as long as space remains, and for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to help dispel the miseries of the world. Good morning, everybody. Respected Rinpoches, panelists, moderator, and my fellow brothers and sisters. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to some he is a celebrity, to some he is a demon, to some he is a great leader, to some he is a Buddha of compassion, but he himself describes as a simple Buddhist monk who embodies selflessness, complete love, compassion, wisdom, celebrates diversity, and reaching out to all sentient beings. With motivation to help all sentient beings, his daily action and teaching as a spiritual leader and to advocate for peace driven by these noble commitments. The four main commitments are promotion of human value. As a human being, we are all same who wants happiness and do not want suffering. He emphasizes the importance of the cultivation of warm-heartedness and the universal human values such as compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, commitment, and self-discipline. Number 2, promotion of religious harmony. As a Buddhist monk, His Holiness is committed to encouraging harmony among the world's religious traditions. Despite the philosophical differences between them, all major world religions have the same potential to create good human qualities. It is therefore important for all religious traditions to respect one another and recognize the value of their respective traditions. He often brings up the idea that there is one truth and one religion is relevant to the individual practitioner. However, with regard to the wider community, he says that there is a need to recognize that human beings observe several religions and several aspects of truth. When religion turns into a cause for division and killing, we Tibetans says, medicine turns into poison. Commitment number 3, preservation of Tibetan culture and environment. As a Tibetan, His Holiness is the focus of the Tibetan people's hope and trust. This commitment encompasses the preservation of the Tibetan language, culture, and the unique environment of the Tibetan plateau. His Holiness sees these as interconnected with the Tibetan culture deeply rooted in the ancient Indian Nalanda tradition and the environment playing a vital, crucial role in the global ecosystem. Commitment number 4, revival of ancient Indian wisdom. With His Holiness emphasis the importance of reviving and integrating the wisdom of ancient Indian, especially young Indians, particularly its knowledge of the mind and the emotion, into modern society. He believes that the practice like meditation and ethical principles from this tradition can contribute to individual and the social well-being. With such noble commitment, I have realized that the power of one individual to bring compassion and goodness and inspire others down the path is immense. His Holiness always teaches that everyone has the same potential as a human being, but the only difference is the willpower. Today, your presence as a panelist and the moderator is the living proof of that willpower and commitment that can ripple across the entire world gradually but obviously. Your presence at this panel will help the cause very much and lend it prestige. I believe your voice would be a critical addition to that conversation given your extensive, most generous advocate. I want to congratulate. At the same time, I want to thank all the panelists and Dr. Tenzin Dorjila for accepting our invitation and taking part in it. Thank you so much. On his auspicious 90th birthday, I bow before him and wish him a very auspicious birthday and many more birthdays in his long and inspiring life. In fact, His Holiness has reassured us again and again to live over 130 years old. Another good news to share with you is that a few days ago on July 2nd, 2025, His Holiness affirmed the continuation of the Dalai Lama institution to illuminate the path towards with his wisdom, compassion, love, and selflessness. I conclude here with a prayer to blossom his message of kindness in our heart today and always. in the land encircled by a ring of snow mountain, is the source of all happiness and benefit. All-knowing Chenrezig, Tenzin Gyatso, may you stand firm until samsara ends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lobsang. Next, please join us as we celebrate a very special milestone, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. Let us watch this short video tribute in honor of his lifelong commitment to compassion, peace, and unity.
Your Holiness,
it's a joy and an honor to celebrate your birthday and to thank you for all the gifts you have given us.
You have dedicated your life to peace, kindness, and compassion.
I would like to show you gratitude and love and say thank you
for your kindness, your compassion, and your commitment
in touching the hearts and minds and souls of so many people.
You have shown us the utmost compassion and humility for all mankind.
May you continue to be a beacon of compassion, peace, love, and joy for our planet.
We are one.
Oneness of 7 billion human beings.
We are one.
I hear that is teaching.
We are one.
Once we consider ourselves the same human being.
We stand together. We are one. If we're worlds apart, we are one. If we love another, we are one. No matter where we are one. We are one.
In honor of His Holiness the Dalai Lama,
who has dedicated his life to peace and kindness.
My gift to you is that I will give compassion wherever it is needed.
To the world.
To my neighbors.
To myself.
A hand or a kind word.
For someone who needs it.
And we all need it.
Happy birthday, Your Holiness.
And you will have many more years on this planet and beyond. We love you.
Compassion makes you a better person, and love is like the most important thing in your life.
So we'll move on to the panel discussion here. So to guide our discussion, we're incredibly honored to welcome Dr. Tenzin Dorjila as our moderator today. Dr. Dorji is a professor of intercultural communications at Cal State University, Fullerton. He's also the former chair of the U.S. Commission. He's also the former chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, USCIRF, In addition to his academic work, he has served as a translator for His Holiness the Dalai Lama and many other revered Tibetan Buddhist teachers. He's also the co-author of Communicating Across Cultures, a respected work in the field. Dr. Dojala, thank you for being here. Please take it away.
Thank you for the introduction. Tashitele and greetings to everyone here and everyone following us through live streaming. And so please allow me to start this off with a salutation to Ari Avalokiteshvara, which Tibetans call Chenresi. O Chenresi Ari Avalokiteshvara, your 1,000 arms represent Chakravartin Rajas, universal kings. Your 1,000 eyes represent 1,000 Buddhas of the fortunate eon, and you manifest according to the dispositions and the needs of the sentient beings. I bow down at your feet. Just couple of housekeeping things first. My name is Tenzin Dorje, and it's my privilege once again to be able to moderate this panel. And originally we have invited more panelists from different faiths, but we are very grateful that you have been able to actually come here to participate in this panel. We'll miss our panelists from Sikhism. Sikhism is the religion that started by Guru Nanak Ji, and also from Christianity in the last minute. So we are going to miss them. Each panelist will have 15 minutes to speak, and we have a timekeeper. When you have used 10 minutes, the timekeeper will give you a signal. You have 5 more minutes, and when you have 1 more minute left, the timekeeper will give you a signal. So please try to round it up. I will introduce each panelist. I know because of the time constraint, I cannot do justice to your incredible achievements here. And so except for His Eminence KUNDELING TAKTSAK Rinpoche, for the remaining panelists, I'm going to follow the order by your last names, if you will. And so it's hard to introduce His Eminence. His Eminence KUNDELING TAKTSAK Rinpoche is the 13th reincarnation in his lineage. And of course, he was recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And Rinpoche spent many years studying at Debung Monastic University in South India, which Tibetans call it the second Nalanda University, and received his Geshe, or the Doctorate of Divinity. That's basically focused on the Sutrayana studies. Then he went to the Yume Tantric College, where he studied the Tantrayana, or the esoteric yanas there. And having completed all his studies, Rinpoche has been very kind to travel within India and around the world to be able to fulfill the needs of the devotees, as well as to promote interfaith harmony. So he's a very much sought after speaker around the world. So with that little bit of introduction by Rinpoche, so Rinpoche will speak, and I will have the privilege to translate for Rinpoche today. And so we will Rinpoche speak for 15 minutes, and hopefully I'll take about 10 minutes to translate. And of course, the timekeeper will keep us on track as well. So with that, Your Eminence, please, start off.
샴베도지 ngala wangjosh lodre pumsang yi shin tuze dang tenzin gyachin rezo tsebege pacho chana pemo soode. En terinde Portland azu puri chidin tsogwe sogan nalola ya eni chulo remake thone karanzu drilling tindeji tso namba thang thea an tso thalo kyangwe gyawe yi shin nubo konglo kubjula ya Pebe to mixation di kabla ya ta zo gyawarum chege zamning jidang gueso pe kawa kangjen be chedo ta be garin samjule debe kyangba the talu gyawarum che khonlo kubju to mixation di kabla ya garin jechen da lemar yine ya kuzi shebe den ya da togo shiwon juya dindechi cho khasala ya nang yebe nangshin en chashe 다가는 신기대 넘버 드롤링 디스 넘버 테 투체 슈바 당아레네 냠슈 슈에 숑바데 겔 가오시라죠.
His Eminence started off his salutation to Aryavalokeswara Padmapani, the one who holds the lotus of compassion in his hands. And so Rinpoche would like to express his joy to be able to participate in this interfaith panel organized here in Portland at this Tibetan community hall. And we are really meeting here on a very special kind of occasion that His Holiness the Dalai Lama has reached his milestone 98th happy birthday. And so His Holiness, of course, has been incredibly kind to Tibetans. We call ourselves the people of the land of snows. And beyond that, of course, His Holiness has contributed much to the peace and interfaith harmony around the world. And this year particularly, different activities and events have been organized throughout the world to honor His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th happy birthday and to support his principal commitments, in particular his commitment to promote interfaith harmony. And once again, thank you for inviting me here.
제 엔터인데 드롤링 토라야 안 추로 리미기 쿠보쿠어 후베 엔데 담시에 나nye 계제 미나 넘버 당 난다네 신기데 조경 딘스도지라 당 대신도 대 지금 나nye 랭게 용라야 디스틸레스체 쉐이.
And I would also like to extend my greetings to respected panelists who are sharing this platform with me, and also the moderator here. And then everybody who are actually present in this hall and everybody following us through live streaming.
Yeah, 주시대 땅아주 겨울음식 공시 잠세다 대신도다 줄로 튼지다 제외 톨러트린데 존리딘데시 있는 거 요버래 딘데 겨울이 신느베 지단기 공시 할레베 갸첨보 대신도 공시든 제외 톨러이네 겨울음식이 제바 갸첨보 쇼지 깡요래 굴레 쇼지 깡요래스.
So we are here to appreciate and also to promote His Holiness's message of love and compassion and interfaith harmony that we all listened to a little earlier. His Holiness spoke very well for himself, and of course it's very hard to fathom the thoughts of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Is very vast and profound, and of course his activities have been equally vast and profound. And of course he went through a lot of hardships to be able to promote peace, harmony, justice, etc.
디엔드 남게 겨울음식 공시 뭔가 유벤나네다 공시 개첨보 소리 시스체네 카피기 유버래 다디 카페벤 나네 당부디 겨울음식 그뒤이네요. 겨울음식이 점블링 디 김장 첨부직당 대난게다 미 사야 동라 게스 유벤나네 겨울음식 디난게 조 미식이 임베차네 개시슈의 균도네 점린 찔러야 즉 시대의 댐베 점리 직다 돌드는 가라서 김장 신부디 시대의 댐베 김장다 지조 신부지 영향가라 배 공치 신부 시오직다 데이터라야 제고 쇼시에요레.
Of course, His Holiness activities really cannot be talked about completely, but His Holiness himself has really focused on the four principal commitments. And the first commitment His Holiness has is he regards this whole world as one global family. So we all belong to that family, and he would like our family to live peacefully and harmoniously and happily. And so therefore all the 8 billion people who share this world, we belong to the same family, and His Holiness always cares about promoting the well-being of all beings as one of the human beings.
Dinde inde zamling ki ta thanda bodo zamne nalola ranzo rikshuni ne da ane shingi chi ro mi gi pirim gi nalola ya shibuji gyo ma go ji chimbre da ane shingi debe lo kyara khashe shi nalola ya chi zamne nalola lopso ta kapjo ma go ji ro tingdu gi chingwo bo da zugjun da dinde dan jewe chi lopso da ane shin shugin chimbu shu ji chi 딘제기 원에 초직내 생리네 출래이네 근지테네 친구부터 좀 할레베 열게치네 조마골 편도 중요래 이나야 나 삼로던 제외 상부 롭소다 당연히 잠닝질라 서보던 제외 지 롭소된 주톨 데스 지 회한 치니 단대급이야 초직내 강의 친구 쉬우 시간 레디요래.
Of course, over the centuries, much of the modern education has focused on material progress and developments. And of course, that has benefited the world so much through scientific development, through technological development, and we have really advanced much in that direction of education. But now we started to realize that educating the heart or the mind has been kind of left behind. We are lacking in that. So in terms of how can we be more kind, how can we be more compassionate, how can we be more loving? So such education has been lagging in the modern education system, and so we have been through a lot of difficulties due to such absence in our education system, and now we are picking up on that.
천리당 친구의 이야기에 할래베 체 토부질이야래 얘나야 미소소소소기 난게 삼려 캐서당 상부 롭소당 디레 망고치야 베체 교보지간 레니 딘제기 원에 단대급려야 베 강에 망고치 체되기요래.
So as I just said, that in terms of scientific education, revolution, development, we have reached a very high standard, right? Achieved high goals. But in terms of cultivating warm-heartedness, loving kindness, and compassionate heart, we are kind of lacking behind, and our standard is kind of poor, relatively speaking.
Dine inde 단대급로 점링 나로려야 미망고 소소 미지게베 급로 이내야 즉 셈감나 강에 쉬우지 체대야 다 딘제기 토네 그시 소소 대사 미사야 망고 길 대대요레딜레 즉 삼류 개선 나로로 소소 캐르강게 소화지기 여러분 캐르강게 나서 용대야죠 양직 소소 소소려야 베이지 라대야죠 다는 신기 소소 강에 디데 채와섬도 마세베 미시야라야 즉 제와 체베 겁리네 강에 쉬우 체대야 도드베이나 지조니 지조기 버를 제와이네자 계급네 계급 버를 제와에 털 탄다이네 오늘 강에 쉬우 체대요.
So because of, we are lacking behind in terms of educating the heart and the mind and all those wonderful mental qualities, we find among our family members in the world, a lot of people really are dealing with, a lot of anxieties and, a lot of issues related to mind, mental faculty. And although they are sharing this world with billions of people like us, but many of them felt very lonely, as if nobody cares about them, right? They feel very disconnected from all the fellow human beings. And many people start to lose even kind of a hope and trust in themselves. And so due to that, it really affects our interpersonal relationships. It really also affects our societal level relationships and international relationships, if you will.
강다 단대급려야 zamnin데 ngone chanegi be 먹투 다가는 신기 be 미지기 찍려야 이지 라베 내당 할 레벨 깔려 가고 지금 대대요 그래 강달 지소 교회 용라야 지 잠세당 상보사야다 된수체 마당네 ngone 전에 미소소이네자 당기 쉬버는 신기 편지 저와 집에 겁이는다 딱 쉬버지 강에 첨부지 걸 대대요
So when we lose trust in each other at the micro individual levels, at a macro societal level, so that really creates a lot of difficulties among ourselves. This is how conflicts arise. This is how war and violence happen in the world. So basically, if we try to investigate where it all is kind of embedded in, so we find it's due to the lack of loving kindness, compassion, within ourselves.
Debe ni don tabelo ne che azu pandemic COVID pandemic cheni ta ngone changne gi kangye shoje chungbre 즉 점링 나로야 답에 강에 ngone chone gi be 첨부 shoje gi be cheji chungbre ta dinde gi kangye de mate jabe qabla ta yang arazu mir rangi kangye 식서니 마 겹 초보 겸니 단대 qabla ta yang kangye shoje ngudo.
Of course, what we remember more recently are how we all have been through much difficulties around the world due to pandemic or the COVID-19, causing much havoc and destruction. And so now we are kind of feeling like we are out of the woods, but we really are not. But then as we have a little more sort of at ease in terms of dealing with pandemics, now we have created unnecessary, what we call man-made, difficulties, violence, and wars. So we are dealing with these all artificially created issues.
Dinde inde ta debe location na lola mogju da dinde gi kenchen ngone jane mi phummango derong ro ya nga dinge de ba mogju gi dinde gi kenchen mi derong ro ba phamare mogju na lola ya mi kangye chengyo la zhongyo da dindegi pama da dirang zu tuni konzu dungye da konzu kangye da zo ngone chana hangsan yak 즉 denzu koyin de susu ine mikju shoya ki nedan ro dinde da yong da yong shin bares.
I personally have met with many people who told me stories about how they have lost their family members in conflicts and wars, and many of their family members are missing, like persons in missing. And of course, but listening to their kind of heartbreaking stories, my eyes also welled up with tears. It's kind of heartbreaking to hear such tragic human stories.
죄송합니다. 매 먹주 딘데기 강에 챙겨 열어봐. 먹주나 대중 침배 딘데기 파마 딘데 응수가랑 통 오늘 전에게 할 레벨로 밤으셨어.
So I personally met victims, family members of such victims who have lost their family members in war, in violence, and still people missing, listed as missing.
죄송. 딱 간다. 아주 미르랑 경원에 전에게 잠새사야다 닌트레기 마다니 뺐다 강에 쉬어질 수도 마다 따지 간지테네 총기 토네 있네 마게 토네 있네 딸하고도 데린 가서 구육을 토를 인바 있네요 다 쉬어지게 자 차고지간 레데샤.
So as we can see that a lot of the issues, major problems we face in the world, whether it is war and violence, whether it is like a matter of what we call the bottom line, like in business dealing, or now we also have to deal with major environmental issues. So all of these things are really deep down connected to more lack of love, kindness, and compassion within ourselves.
Kuryu chashawe ta be long kalong denzo shihoje pakso chane nganamge gyagal mangu tegi yore de kungadwa 진짜 중이 당보도와 베네 델리도와 샤샤웨나 다 kalong 할레베 초보베 삼성 호주 체계베시도 체계야 된설레베 삼성 가제 프로그램 가시나 등기민도 쓰기도 진짜 딘지게베 첼레게베 박소 차야라고 다는 신게베 차주 팬에 할레베 강에 침부르시.
And so because of environmental issues, for example, I personally, of course, I mostly live in India, and we really know about the air pollution, particularly in Delhi. If you visit Delhi in December or January, the air pollution is just tremendous. Sometimes, those who are trying to track down the level of air pollution, they said the measurement also doesn't register the level of pollution. And then, of course, the heat problem.
제가 론니스 군데 군가 진짜 중이나 더 델리리아 더 드링 스토브레 딘데 드람살라네 마 등아디 개규진이지 요니 디네 마 남루마 팝도와 남루 팝니 기운나 마스테인사 따인도 선발 배지 묵버다고 직도와 쟤는 아니 개규 크랑 메시 큰거도 삼년 당에 메시리아 남규 줘딘데게 지 코야 주와 하나 지와 온딘데 코버서 메시 마빈 직친 양게 거인서 다라를 하셔서 항상 답에 기운나 마더디 큰 통야스 개요 말로 코란 당고 할 삼서는 메시 딜직 체셔 삼주스 딘데게 배 소부 차대요.
2 years ago, I was invited to participate in a panel in Delhi, and my translator flew down from Dharamsala, Himachal Pradesh, northern India down, and on the way he kind of looked through the window, and so it seemed like a very kind of hazy and foggy kind of a weather. And first he thought, because he was wearing glasses, maybe his glasses got moistened by his vapor or something. So he took off his glasses, but he saw it's nothing to do with his glasses, but it's the dust pollutions, and so that kind of pollution.
다 딘데기 칼론 소부차대야 돼야 문내 칼론 소부치고 말이 네 귀니 미 최대는 세게 강에 태고 여러분. 딘데 인도 선발다 딘데기 용돼야 돼야 아주 저 미기 쇠 댕겨직 차대요 그래.
So this is not just a story about air pollution, but that has a direct effect on our health status, right? People's health are affected by environmental, toxic, pollutions, and so these are, in many ways, kind of us human-made issues.
그래서 다 미기 찔러 삼로 땅에다 딘데기 삼로 마당네 쿨두기 총기 개변다 쿨두기 삼로 질 땅네 딘데지 체네 다 점린 딘데지 차네 다 마오바 칸다 가서 점린디는 대고로 가서 대고로라 가란서 여기 미도지마 대고도 삼발다 컨데스 대고로.
So a lot of these issues are kind of related to just one's own very narrow focus, personal bottom line gain issues, how much money can I make out of my business, and really don't think much about the society at large, and also the generations, that will exist after I die. So when we don't think globally and at a macro level, just only think about the bottom line, so we have such issues.
대신도 차저기 털을 쉬고 있네요. 남경아대 히말라야 초단데 발라야 테마망고 주고요. 딘데 드로베급이야 페날라다단데 와 차시는 거 다니 드로베급이야. 진짜 개변을 주도 쇼베 쇼라다 인군 추도 죽지 중리 예인데 와 급이 남주 퍼마도 내단데 연구도 차저 첨부차.
So again, the heat problem is also tremendous in India. That often I get invited to the Himalaya regions of India, Ladakh in particular. I remember last August I visited it, and sometimes people said that even the plane could not land properly at noon due to the heat intensity.
그래서 어디 고세 뭐냐와 차와체네 남주 법도고 말스 가르체네를 했라임바. 디지도 남시 차다셔 니마 차워체 남주 법석이 남다한데 ngazo ground or the church and number jigo sabo pawindi chola ru dindregi da ngazo Himalayan chodon so satho sasibu sigi yore ta thande kal dindregi chawale ingodo.
So I never heard such issues that plane couldn't land properly due to some kind of heat issue, right? So I asked, right, how could that be? Well, they said, when the heat intensity goes up, because the plane has to land on the track, so the tar gets so much heated up that if the plane lands, it's going to get damaged. So usually people think Himalaya is a cool place. This is where you escape from the heat. But now, even in such high land, heat intensity causes problem.
아니 이봐야 강리던 존에 뺐디 쉬어지 용으로 주고도 다는 신기 군가 강한 개외는 쉬어 용으로도 강다 안주 탄데 점린지라 고요의 차네 강롱 박속의 차네 직다 내당 망고지 한 레벨 자타고 시간 내대셔.
So even on the Himalaya belt of India, that due to global warming effects, that now the snows melt quite fast, and so during even winter time, they don't get enough snow that usually they expect.
근데 인도 먼저 지 잠새사야다 즉 점리 찔을 삼다야 사야든서 다 단다 겨울음식이 카페와는 오늘 전에기 겨울음식 공시든서 할 레벨 럽진 쉬우직 차대셔.
So the point I'm trying to make here is that we all really need to expand our way of thinking and care about the world we live in, and so try to cultivate and promote loving context and compassion to all. So these are really the messages that His Holiness brings to all of us, that so we could support the promotion of such incredible human values.
딘데 인도 잠발라 딘데 왜 잠zel라서와 딘데 이야기 따야려야 오늘 전에기 누바다 딘데지 아주 줄로 칼라 요래 딘데 인도 잠발라야 지 줄로 점린나다 줄로 오늘 겨울음식 그대네 까는 거 요래 줄로 먹고 요래 여버 뒤에 대야 좀 밀어야 샴디 둠예지기 찬이 상말로 팽기 카페 버는 신기 퀴즈 쉬야지다 딘데 임버지다 겨울음식 이내야 줄로 상말로 퀴즈 난거 요래 딘데 인도 잠발라다 아주 줄로 상말로 누버 뿡네 어제 김장 첨부 즉 점블링 디토라야 배 상배 슈겐디 아주 튜문 그 톤에 된 거야 할 레벨 개첨부식 삼례셔 근데 인도 겨울음식이 공식 개첨부식디 겨울음식 점링 나로기 따직 낭배 우지슈네 우지기 최저민의 개첨부 인버섬도 마세베 낭배 최저기 돌도는 최저기 민의직 인베차네 점링 나로 최저기 민의디게 줄루 튼지기 톤에 돌도나 상물로 념루기 톤에 누버 되게 돌아다 쉬우지기 둘이 있는 거 요래 제법 쉬우시 짱 요래스.
So His Holiness' second commitment is that as a Buddhist, as a known, prominent global Buddhist leader, he feels that all the religions have the abilities and power to promote such incredible human values of loving kindness, compassion, and such things. And so His Holiness himself has exemplified these things in his life and actions. As we all listened to him earlier, His Holiness talks about how all the religions could serve the humanity in the same way, and we should respect each other. And so we should all put our efforts together. So we should launch a collective efforts as the followers of different faiths to be able to promote this inner human incredible qualities of kindness, compassion, etc.
그도이네 간는 거 요래 줄로 근데리지네 약수 디레스 켜는 요 말레스 겨울음식이 먼저 배나 낭배지존을 가는 거 걸어 숨고 요래 줄로 약수 디레스 요 말레스 소소소소려야 로 팬도다 고골레스 배나 매직 차샤베이네요 맨 광칭부 쇼지 때베이네 맨 약수 디레스 레베 요 말레스 나잘 때네 두스레 디인디 줄로 상물로 로 디약슈디리스 개요마레 딘데 인도 담발라 다 개슈슈직데 간저 줄로 펜지 튠진 요알이야 누바 체슈직데 줄로 펜지기 캐슈다 로 셴기 캐슈다 윤된 통에 통에 아니 베 튠지체야 캐슈 뭐 무슨 거요
So even when His Holiness speaks to his followers, Buddha Dharma or Buddhism, he tells them that he personally doesn't think there is such thing as one best religion. At the individual level, whatever religion serves your needs most, right? And that's what is good for you. which is like a medicine, right? It's also not necessary that the most expensive medicines are the most effective anyway, right? So how do we decide whether a medicine is effective or not? It depends upon the nature of sickness, isn't it? And if the medicine can treat that particular sickness you are dealing with, then that's a good medicine, isn't it? So therefore, this whole notion of one best religion is somehow out there. He does not believe in that. And he tells this to his followers. So His Holiness says that we should really learn to look at the good side of all religions and appreciate all the wonderful characteristics and the benefits each religion brings in the service of humanity.
근데 배진 뒤에 조인스레 디레직 돈에 참조 쉬어야 직단다 개시슈디 겨울음식이 공시 디게디 배 겨울음식 공시단 제바디 균에 요야려야 오늘기 ngaran수 그러다 지 다도 겨울음식 공로급주 폐배 뒤주 딘데 지걸 믹스에 ngaran수에게 다 직종링 나야 이네 자 레구베야 이네 다 된서 쇼 캐시 같은 것도 딘데지 shum바이나 겨울음식이 제바다 공시 균에 용성도 마세비 디 균에 딱 술을 핑기레스 세비나 잠민 찔르티 균이 핑기레 다네 생기 지 표발에 있는 디 균이 핑기요가 인도티 캐시 쉬고 싶은 거요 아니 도치 쉬어야
So I got my time signal there, so I'm going to round it up. So what I want to say is that, His Holiness, all this, interfaith, wishes and what he has done in all the best possible ways, we should do everything we could to promote that, to sustain such interfaith dialogue and promotions, right, in terms of such as organizing a panel discussion like this, or organizing any other activities or any kind of activism. At the end of the day, who benefits from all such activities and activism is the whole world, right? The world becomes more peaceful, more understanding, more harmonious. So therefore, it's something worthwhile to do. So once again, thank you for listening to me, and I'll yield. So as I said before, I follow by the last names of the panelists here, and I would like to introduce very briefly, Mr. Harsh Arora there. Of course, we met before, and he was born in India, the land of Aryas, the land of our Dharma, and he did his engineering degree from H.H Delhi, and he earned his graduate degree from the University of California at Berkeley. And the last job that he did and retired was he was the managing director of HSBC Bank. And for the last 10 years or more, that he wrote and directed and acted in several plays based upon Indian history and mythology. And so he was frequently invited to lecture on Buddhism and Indian culture at different schools and universities and other institutions. And of course, he also participated in really marathons. I don't know how you do that, 26 miles, right? And wrote 3 books, the first Hindu, Undesired Duty, and Mahalila, a book of plays in Hindi. And now, he has 2 sons who are doing very well. And with that, I yield to you. So please speak your thoughts. And at 10 minutes, the timekeeper will signal you.
Thank you very much for introduction. I am going to use some visuals here, so please look at them. As you can see on this page, there are lots of deities, and Hinduism acknowledges that we people, humans, have differences, and it offers choices for us based on our background and our interests. As I was thinking about, let's go to the next page. As I was thinking about the topic today, it reminded me of a quote from my favorite author, Leo Tolstoy. He said, "If you feel your joy and pain, you are alive. But if you feel the joy and pain of others, you are human." So as religious people, do we really feel joy, and are we capable of feeling joy of people of other faiths? And that, to me, is the basic question today. And I'm going to explore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer two models to think about harmony between religions. Let's go to the next page. What I've done here, it's a very busy page. I'm not going to go through everything, but what I've done, and I can have this available for everybody to look at, this whole presentation. What I've done on the left side of the 5 religions represented here, I have the core beliefs from there, and they may not be right. Some people may object to it, but as far as I know, these are the core beliefs of all these religions. On the right side is how these religious people express those core beliefs as in their culture. For example, I mean, we live in predominantly a Christian country, and Christians believe that Jesus Christ as a savior and son of God. Now, as a Hindu, I do not have to believe in that because I have my own beliefs, but I could participate in how they express that in participating in the Christmas celebrations, Easter traditions, etc., and to really work with them and empathize with what they believe in. In a similar way, as a Hindu, I know that Hindus believe in reincarnation, karma, dharma, and moksha, and you don't have to. A non-Hindu doesn't have to, but they can celebrate with us, Diwali, Holi, which to some extent is being done today. Indian music is getting more popular in the West, and that's how we can, work with other religions and bring in harmony. Another way I have divided the religions, let's go to the next page, is, what I have noticed, and to a large extent I do that we all look at our religion more emotionally. We have an emotional attachment to it. But other religions, we look at very rationally and logically. Okay, as an example, I'll just give one example. This again is a busy page. I'm not going to go through it, but Hindus believe in idol worship. And somebody may say, well, how can you expect a God to be in a stone image? That's just irrational. And a Hindu would say, well, you're using, mathematical logic into a poetic truth. There is a poetic truth, and you should see a man standing in front of an image of an idol in a temple and feel what goes on in his heart and his brain. And then you will really realize what it is. And I hope we can do that to religions that are other than ours. Then, we talked about emotion and logic. Now, who has all the information in the world? Let's go to the next page. That's ChatGPT, which is an artificial intelligence language, okay? And I asked this question, okay? I said, if you were human, which religion would you choose? And guess, you may all guess which religion it chose. It chose non-religion. Let's go to the next page and see the result. And you can do that on your own, and you will get same result, okay? Basically, it says that it depends on where I was born, what values resonated with me, and how I interpreted the world, and what gives me meaning of life. And for different backgrounds, it selected a different religion. The point being that every religion has strength, okay? And we can learn from each other. Now, if you take out emotions, this is what I get, okay? And you should try that. Now, let's go to the next page, and let's come to my religion, Hinduism. As you can see, Hinduism, unlike other religions, I call it an umbrella, or it's an organization of other religions. A lot of religions within it, Vaishnava, Shaivite, as I've noted down in a vertical way. So, when a typical Hindu grows up, okay, he sees different family members, different friends, following different divinity, different gods. And it becomes very natural that, hey, people have differences. And it's okay to be revering different gods and different deities. In my case, my mother was a staunch idol worshipper. And she used to spend 1 hour every day in front of her idols in the home. But my father didn't like that. He said, well, I believe in fire worship. And they lived happily together for 64 years. I never heard them arguing about this thing, okay? And that's very natural in the Hindu society, okay? I'll just bring in one scripture, the most important scripture that we have, Bhagavad Gita. And it says that the purpose of dharma, or religion, is to suppress our ego. Ego is the biggest problem we have, to bring us closer to our Atman, the true essential self. Okay, that's our purpose. And not to boost our ego by propagating how great our religion is necessarily. And I would ask this question, can there be harmony while there are programs for active and intentional conversions from a religion to another? Has been going on for years, and I don't think we can have harmony with that. Now I come to another quote from my favorite philosopher and author. He said, don't tell me about your religion. Let me see your religion in your actions. And let me tell you how Hindus have behaved. And Dalai Lama, as you heard, basically said that, and I'm going to repeat some of it with some statistics. Let's go to the next page. So how have Hindus behaved with other religious people? Now, to avoid religious persecution, a lot of people have come to India, as Dalai Lama also said. Jews came to India, fleeing from the coastal areas of what is now Israel, into India almost 2,000 years ago. And there are 1.3 million Jews living in India very well, very happily. Syria Christians came to India in 3rd century. And now the Christian population has grown to 30 million, and they live very happily there. Zoroastrians from Persia came in the 8th century. I heard about 5,000 came, and they've grown to 50,000 now. It's the smallest minority, one of the smallest minorities in India, and they are one of the richest, and they are happiest and one of the most educated people in India, and living very happily. And we all know that Dalai Lama came in 1959, and my estimate is 150,000 Tibetans live very happily in India. Also, over 200 million Muslims reside in India, and they had formed a country. As I've written, it would be the 8th largest country in the world. So the 2nd largest Muslim population lives in India after Indonesia. And Muslim population has grown 45% according to the census since 1951. I'll just end up with a prayer, as I was asked to do. Okay, yeah, this is it. So I'll speak first in Sanskrit and then give you a translation. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramraya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschar dukh bhaga bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Its meaning is Om, may all be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, may no one suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace. The Shanti word means peace. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harsh Arora ji. Very economical with time here. Thank you. So next, I would like to briefly introduce Rabbi Shelton Donnell, who is a native of Los Angeles. I pretty much came from that vicinity, and received his Bachelor of Arts degree in religion from Pomona College in Claremont, and was ordained at Hebrew Union College in New York in 1977. He served as Sephardic Hebrew Center in Los Angeles from 1977 to 1984, and rabbi educator and associate rabbi at Wilshire Boulevard Temple from 1984 to 1991. And he became the senior rabbi of Temple Beth Shalom of Orange County in 1991. So he was very active in interreligious relations in Orange County, and was founder of the Catholic-Jewish Dialogue, sponsored by the Catholic Diocese of Orange County and American Jewish Committee. In 2005, Rabbi Donnell was recognized for his interfaith work, being awarded the Bini Merenti Medal by Pope John Paul II. And he has written numerous articles in magazines and the Jewish press, and wrote 3 prayer books, including Passover, Haggadah in English, Hebrew, and Ladino for Sporadic Rite. And happily married with Venti Bukarski, and a retired oncology. Please take it away, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank our hosts for inviting me to this program today, and to pay my respects to my fellow panelists as we honor His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. We wish him much happiness and blessing as he continues to bring blessing to our broken world. I actually had the honor when I was serving at Wilshire Boulevard Temple in Los Angeles to meet the Dalai Lama in 1986, and that memory and the experience is still one that I hold in great esteem. This topic, interfaith harmony and compassion, is in keeping with the Dalai Lama's life mission. If we think about it, though, it's an aspirational and optimistic vision of how religions and faith traditions can be a force for harmony and for peace. But the reality in our world, however, is that in so many of the conflicts and wars raging around the globe, religion is a catalyst for strife rather than as a mitigating force for peace. So this morning, I would like to reflect from my particularistic Jewish perspective on how faith can be a source of understanding and harmony rather than a reason for xenophobia and suspicion, or at worst, hate for the other. Let me begin by briefly presenting an overview of what Judaism is, as it does not fit the definition, at least in a Western sense, of a religion or a faith per se. Rather, we have to define Judaism in a different way. That is, as the term religion implies an adherence to, or at least an acknowledgement of, a theology wherein a divine force informs existence, someone who might be called or consider themselves an atheist who denies any such force would not normally be considered part of a religion. And yet in Judaism, even an atheist is part of the Jewish collective. Though there are intense debates within Judaism and Jewish communities about theology and differences amongst Jews and what we believe and who believes exactly what, or practices their Judaism in a certain way or chooses not to at all. So if Judaism is not a religion, what is it? Some have suggested that the Jews are a race, but in fact, there are Jews of every race. Then there are those who maintain that Jews are a nation, and yet Jews bear allegiance to many different nationalities. So if Judaism is not a religion, a race, or nationality, what is it? Mordechai Kaplan, the Jewish theologian and founder of the Reconstructionist movement in Judaism, one of the many theological streams in modern Judaism, Dr. Kaplan defined Judaism as a civilization. As a civilization, Judaism incorporates a vast variety of theologies, cultures, and ethnicities. What informs Judaism and binds Jews together is a collective history and identification with that Jewish civilization. From a theological or faith perspective, at the core of Jewish civilization is a textual tradition, beginning with the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, namely Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. This scriptural tradition grew to incorporate the Hebrew books of the prophets and writings that form the Hebrew canon, comprising what Jewish tradition calls the written law. In addition to the written law, Jewish tradition comprises what we call the oral law, consisting of more than 2,000 years of rabbinic commentary, homiletics, and legislation based upon the written law. Together, the written law and the oral law find expression in the customs, traditions, rules, and norms that we Jews called halakha, a word which is often misconstrued as the law, but in actuality means the way, the process. In its essence, Judaism is a conversation carried on through the ages and added to by Jews of various perspectives, cultures, and traditions, even into the common period in which we live now. In other words, to be a Jew is to be involved in that ongoing conversation. At the core of that conversation is a quest to understand how to live our lives with meaning and purpose so that we are a source of blessing to our community, our people, and indeed to the world. And it is that very actualization of the Jewish conversation that is relevant to today's discussion. In other words, how does Judaism provide a guide to Jews to contribute to world harmony and inspire compassion for other human beings? Judaism, as I have said, is a text-based tradition. It is our textual tradition that informs our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. Our ancient rabbis taught that our texts speak to us in human terms. That means that our understanding of the cosmos is filtered through human language, and language is ultimately limiting. How then can the limits of human language describe or comprehend the ultimate truths of the cosmos? At best, language, any language, cannot express the ultimate truths themselves. At best, language can enable us to comprehend the incomprehensible, to try to hold on to truths of the cosmos by means of the human imagination. And this imagination is expressed through metaphor. Metaphor, I would argue, is the language of faith. I would argue that in essence of all faiths. Metaphor helps us to understand that which is beyond human understanding by speaking to us in human terms that are comprehensible to us. The myths, the legends, the lore and doctrines at the core of all faiths are metaphorical means to understanding the cosmos and our place within it. So, all world faiths may be understood to reflect ultimate truth by means of the particularistic metaphors that are comprehensible to that faith community. The problem is that for so many, the metaphors are the ultimate truth, and therefore the metaphors of other faiths would be by definition false. The rabbis taught, Shiv'im panim la Torah. There are 70 facets of Torah. Now, if Torah is a Jewish metaphor for the ultimate truth, then we might understand this ancient teaching to imply that there are many different ways to perceive the truth and the nature of existence. On the other hand, fundamentalism, the belief that the metaphors particular to that faith are not a facet or a perception of the truth, but truth itself, that is the cause for much of the discord and conflict among the inheritance of different faiths traditions today and indeed throughout history. For me personally, I find many of the metaphors of Jewish belief guide me to this understanding of what it means to be a human being in the world. For example, in Jewish scripture, we have the metaphor of the myth of creation and of the creation of humanity in particular, with the creation of the first human being. The word for human being in Hebrew is Adam, which has come down to become a personal name, Adam. But it is actually a generic term, meaning human being. So the rabbis ask, why was humanity created from one individual? And they answered, so that no one might say that their genealogy was superior to anyone else's. Now, I don't accept as factual or scientifically proven truth that all humanity evolved from one individual created by the divine fiat from the dust of the earth. But nonetheless, as a metaphor of faith, this myth about the commonality of all humanity holds profound significance for me and informs my worldview. In truth, I could go on and on recounting metaphor after metaphor from Jewish tradition that speak to the commonality of all humanity and that guide me to strive for human harmony and to compassion for my fellow human beings. But given the time limitations of this discussion and of course of your patience, let me conclude this introduction with what I believe to be the most profound and fundamental metaphor in Jewish tradition. It is the essence of Jewish theology and enunciated by observant Jews every day, and especially at the moment of one's death, as the ultimate expression of faith. That metaphor is taken from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, wherein Moses adjures the people of Israel with these words, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And this is traditionally translated as, Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. In this proclamation, the term Adonai stands for the name of God. In actuality, this term, Adonai, is not the name of God. It is a circumlocution of the divine name, which tradition dictates can never be pronounced. So instead of saying the actual name of God, we use the circumlocution Adonai. The name for the divine in Hebrew, the actual name, is made up of 4 letters, the meaning of which, according to the story in the book of Exodus of Moses encountering the divine, is a combination of the word in Hebrew to be in the past, present, and future tense. In other words, God's name, or God's essence, if you will, is capital B, capital E, capital I, capital N, capital G. God, in the metaphors of Judaism, is existence itself. And so the words of Deuteronomy, the essential metaphor upon which Judaism is based, can be understood to mean this. Hear, or more correctly, more accurately, understand, O Israel. Existence is our God. Existence is one unity. Thus, for me, Judaism, while being particularistic, speaking in Jewish metaphors, acknowledges the universality of divine existence, perceived as it is through the different metaphors of meaning that speak to different people in different ways. This, I believe, is the key to interfaith harmony. To be able to see and acknowledge this truth as reflected through the particularism of other faiths that speak to different people and different ways. And this, in this way, we are able to acknowledge this truth in others as well as in my own. For those that see the world and the quest for the divine truth in shades of black and white, the notion of real interfaith harmony is an absurdity. This is the postulate of one truth and one way to perceive the truth, with any other perception being false, misleading, or worse, evil. And unfortunately today, we see this absolutist theology manifest throughout the world, leaving havoc and xenophobia in its wake. But in truth, the world is not black and white, is it? It is nuanced shades of gray, or perhaps more accurately, it is a variegated rainbow of hues and shades of belief and understanding. For me as a liberal Jew, my faith offers me a sense of meaning and purpose in just this sort of multi-hued and uncertain world. So too does this understanding of Jewish particularism open me up to greater compassion for all of my fellow human beings. For the other is inherently neither a threat nor misguided. The other is just a different iteration of divine creation. Everything else, as we say in Jewish tradition, everything else is commentary. And let the conversation continue.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Donnell, for your faith-sharing understanding. Now, I would like to briefly introduce Dr. KHALID Khan, who arrived from Pakistan in Raleigh, North Carolina, as a graduate student in '69 to study materials engineering. You have completed your MSc and PhD and hired as a postdoctoral research associate and director of electron microscopy facility at Oregon Graduate Institute. After spending 4 years there, you were hired by the University of Portland as a faculty member in their material engineering program, and you taught there 49 years and retired in 2018. You served as Associate Dean of the School of Engineering for 30 years and you have been involved in intrafaith activities in Portland, Vancouver area beyond more than 40 years. And you are the founding member of Islamic Society of Greater Portland, and now serves on the board of trustees of the Islamic Society of Southwest Washington in Vancouver, and where you reside with your wife. You served on diversity committees at the Vancouver Police Department and Clark Community College, and you are a member of the Interfaith Coalition. Please take it away, Dr. Khan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. I seek refuge from Satan, the accursed one, through God. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of God be upon our dear Prophet. I begin my comments with the greeting which is used all over the Islamic world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace, blessing, and bounties of God be upon you all. I'm honored and humbled at the same time that I've been invited here for the second time. I was here for the panel discussion last year as well. And I thank my friend, Mr. Lobsang Dandap, who actually approached me while I was visiting my son last year in Chicago. I don't know how he got my cell number, but he approached me there. And I was very happy to be part of that panel last year. And I'm honored again this year. I paid close attention to what His Excellency had to say. It was right on the money, as they say here in this country, when it comes to education, because I was involved with education for about a half century before retiring. And what he had to say about things like environmental problems and so forth. As a matter of fact, I wrote a chapter in a faculty book at the University of Portland, where 15 plus faculty members from different departments participated in it. And that whole book was on the environmental problems. Okay? The title of that book was All Creation is Groaning. And I assume that, I think that's a phrase from the Bible. So, and they asked me to write a chapter on the Islamic perspective on the environment, which I did. Okay. First of all, when it comes to peace and harmony, and love and compassion for humanity, in my mind, it's a very simple thing. You have to start from your own self. If there has to be a peace, it should start with me first. I should be at peace with myself. I should be at peace with my neighbor, with my family, and with my Creator. Only then we can bring peace to the whole world, inshallah, God willing. I'll share with you a couple of short verses from the Quran, which is our holy book, and I have a copy of it here, okay, which actually tells me what should be my world view. Okay. So this is what my faith tells me. Not what people are, practicing in the name of Islam and going in a left and right direction everywhere, which is not Islam actually. So this is directly from the Quran. And just to give you a little flavor of the Arabic language, I think some of you know that Quran has 114 chapters or surahs. So this is from Surah 49, and verse 13. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. And the closest meaning, it says, O mankind, lo, I have created you male and female, and have made you nations and tribes, that you may know one another. Lo, the noblest of you in the sight of Allah, God, is the best in conduct. Lo, Allah is knower, aware. At another place in Surah 17, the verse number is 70, it says beautifully, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْصِيلًا. Indeed, we have honored the children of Adam. That means all of us, right? Indeed, and we is that of authority, right? Indeed, we have honored the children of Adam, blessed them with conveyances on land and sea, provided them with good and pure things, and exalted them above many of our creatures. So human beings are called ashraf al-makhluqat in the Islamic tradition, the highest of the creation, right? Which doesn't mean that we are allowed to basically rape and plunder this planet. We are here as caretakers. We are here as caretakers of this planet. Okay? As I said, His Excellency's word was really well taken by me, because I have not only written on it, but I have thought about it and so on and so forth. Education. His comments were really right on the money, because in education we have gone so much into, details of things and scientific stuff and so forth. That's what I was doing, teaching engineering. And we forgot the spiritual part of it. Okay? I have coined a term called the tripod of balance. When you have a tripod, all three legs should be of equal length. If one of the legs is missing or different length, then the tripod will topple over. So in order to lead a balanced life, you have to have physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. All three of them. Okay? By the same token, in the Islamic tradition, there are duties or huquq. Huquq Allah, huquq al-ibad, huquq al-nafs. Duties toward God, how He should be worshipped. Duties toward others, and others means not only people, but animals and environment. Take care of the environment. And then huquq al-nafs, your own duties toward yourself. God has given you this miracle called the human body. Take care of it in all those three areas, physical, mental, and spiritual, to lead a balanced life. So basically, as I said earlier, you have to be at peace with yourself, and that's how you start. Okay. Now, it was already said by some of the speakers, very, very true, that really don't think that all Christians are like this or all Buddhists are like this. Do not generalize. The Dalai Lama said that as well. Okay? We are all individuals. There are 1.7 billion Muslims on this planet, 56 countries with Muslim majority. You cannot put all of them into one bucket, and yes, some crazy people have done nasty things, so-called in the name of Islam. Okay? So one has to be, very, very discreet about this thing. Okay? And I'm not the judge of people. I'll leave it to Allah, to God. He is the judge. We had a person who used to come and give khutbahs or sermons, the Friday prayer. He moved to California later on. He used to give very nice khutbahs, and he would say something beautiful. He said, you are not the judge. The judge is God. don't even apply for that job. That job is already taken. Okay? So he's the judge. I'm not really. And I remember I quoted it last year as well, a comment by a gentleman from EMO, Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon, at an interfaith rally which happened in 2007 when there was a terrorist attack in London. And we all got together, some different faiths, and we gave some comments there. And that gentleman from EMO said something beautiful. He said, you know, when I was growing up, I used to think that heaven would be where everyone would look like me, will think like me, will talk like me. And then when I grew up, I realized that that would be hell, actually. You know? So diversity, just like I read from the Quran, has to be celebrated. It was God's plan to actually create us different, okay? But we can always come together when it comes to things like compassion and love and caring for each other. I've taken part in interfaith work for the past almost 40 years in Portland, Vancouver area. As a matter of fact, there's another event, 1 hour event in Vancouver from 2 to 3 p.m. interfaith, where I'll be after I leave from here, because I'm part of that interfaith coalition. And many years ago, there was a panel at Legacy Salmon Creek Hospital where Reverend Gwen Morgan was the director of spiritual care, and she arranged this because she wanted people from different faiths to come and talk about the spiritual aspects of health. Okay, so she invited me as well, and there was a Buddhist monk there, and he said something beautiful. He said, either we are all God's children or none of us are. So basically, this is how you should look at humanity, you know. I should not have, a complex that I am better than others or less than others. I'm at the same level ground. If you go with that humility is the main thing, okay, then I think things will be a little better in this world. I would be remiss if I don't mention a book to all of you. When I retired in 2018, my son and daughter-in-law actually, they arranged a nice retirement party, and there were about 100 plus people who came, relatives and friends, and we said no gifts, but people know that I like to read books. So one book that was given was really a joy because it's called The Book of Joy. The Book of Joy. Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu got together for a whole week in Dharamsala, along with an American writer. And that American writer basically took notes, whatever they were discussing, and then wrote this book, The Book of Joy. The simple message of that book is this: there's happiness and there's joy. Happiness is fleeting. You want to get that BMW, you are saving money, and you buy it. Oh, voila, now I have that BMW. A year later, that happiness is gone, right? It's everything routine. Joy is overarching. And joy comes only from serving others. Only from serving others. By the grace and mercy of God, I've been able to practice that for the past almost 50 years. First in North Carolina, then in Portland, and now in Vancouver. And yes, that joy, you cannot put a price on that. So that will be my message to all of you. Serving others is the best way to live. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khan, for your message. And I think we have some time for Q&A. Please try to just ask the question pinpoint. Don't give the whole background contextualizing thing. We don't have much time for that. And whoever you're directing your question, please say the name, and he will answer. If it's for everybody else, let us know, and so everybody can share their thought. Do you have any questions? Chua your number. Yeah, Dr. Khan said comments are good too. That aligns with interfaith harmony and compassion. Sure, please.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Soang Lama, and I don't know who I'm directing this question to, but nowadays, with so much going on around the world, I'm really confused. Personally, with our leaders enforcing the rules that I think is correct, but it's at the same time, at a human level, there's you see suffering of other people. So I don't know, I'm struggling to think, is there a limit to compassion where the rules is involved? This question is not directed to anybody, just I want to know your thoughts about the rules, the regulations or enforcing the law of the country, and then the compassion that we should think about or something to. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, so could you restate the question one more time so it's for everybody, right?
You want me to rephrase the question?
Yeah, restate the question one more time so that we hear you clearly.
Okay, so basically I'm struggling in this time where the rule of the law, the president follows the rule of the law, whatever the constitution is, and then we have human suffering as a consequences. Yeah. I feel like sometimes he's doing I don't agree with all of them, but I feel like he's doing it correctly based on whatever is on the paper or constitution. So I'm struggling whether if it's a right or should the compassion come first or the rule, does it make sense?
Sure. Would anybody like to, let me translate it to Rinpoche first, and then anybody can take it away, maybe Rinpoche will answer. First, Koran Tiwa di Dirat, Moran Tiwa Shue di, Dangaja Tsadim Shuzong Timi or Walo, Tim Twa Dina Nena Chidu Kanlia, and Nena Chade or Walo. And Danga Singaza Tanda Debe Ningza that you saw the Garua, to the Perulia that has Moran Geldes Tongmero. That was the thought, and need to conduct some of the would anybody like to address it first? Yeah, Rinpoche wants you to start up.
In the Islamic tradition, this world is called Darul Amal, the world or the place of action. And the Akhirah, when you die and go somewhere, that's called Darul Jaza. What you have done here, you will get some recompense for it, okay? So basically, what I am responsible for is my actions. As I said, if there has to be peace, it has to start from me. Now, if you've taken some probability in statistics in college or high school, I'm sure you're very familiar with this bell curve, right? Okay. Any natural phenomena you plot it on a graph. For example, in politics, there are people who are middle of the road, people who are extremely conservative, people who are extremely liberal. If you do that, it will end up with a bell curve, right? So majority is under that bell, but there are small fringe groups here and here on the two extremes. That will happen in any and every natural phenomena, any group, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and so forth, and so forth. And you cannot say that this fringe group, whatever they are doing, applies to the whole, the whole group. You cannot, actually. So you have to actually take it on an individual basis, and what you can do in your own, simple way, you try to do it on a daily basis. Because, I do not control what the president is doing and so on and so forth, but I can control it with my vote, okay? That's about all I can do. So that will be my answer.
Thank you. Mr. ARORA and Rabbi Donnell, would you like to share some thoughts?
Briefly, if that's possible, coming from me. There is no conflict in an absolute sense between law and conscience. Law is necessary. Without law, there would be chaos. However, there is a sense of what does it mean to exist within the law, and what happens when there's a conflict between the law and my conscience. And I'm going to use as an example a Christian theologian from this period of the Second World War, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who had a great respect for the law, but the laws that were being implemented by the government at the time, the Nazi government, he found to be contrary to his conscience, and chose to protest not out of a disrespect for law, but for the need for the compassion or his conscience to be in consonance with the law, and chose, in fact, he was sent to a concentration camp himself because his principles, his conscience, dictated that he must protest. But at no time did he disavow the concept of law. So I think that it's a question of how do we perceive how we exist within the legal system in which we live. And sometimes that may mean protest, and with protest there's often consequences. And we have to accept the consequences if we also respect not only our conscience, but the law. And I think we see, I think that what you may be referring to in terms of some of the laws, some of the things that we see in terms of how peoples are being abused and being hounded and rounded up today, which goes contrary to our conscience. How do we do it? How do we protest it? For that, and I'm going to end with this, I'm going to use the example of Abraham Joshua Heschel, who at the time of the march in Selma, in which he participated, was asked why it was that he was protesting those laws that were in existence at that time, with the real possibility that he would go to jail as a result of that, because so many people were arrested for those protests. He said, because I'm praying with my feet. Our actions reflect who we are as human beings and what we feel about being human.
In India, for last 1,000 years, we had Muslim rules and Christian rules. The British ruled India. And there were a lot of protests. I mean, as I had mentioned in my talk, Hindus considered, respect differences in people. But these laws that were imposed on the Hindus by outsiders were not the same. They were coming from people of different faith. And people protested in different ways. I mean, I'll just take an example of Gandhi, that at that time there was no, people didn't have weapons, or Hindus at least didn't have weapons, didn't have many means, and he used his way of protesting against the British. And to a large extent, he succeeded in bringing the Hindus together, and finally we got independence from the British. But yeah, so there are different ways of protesting, and that's how Gandhi did, and as a great examples from India. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Kabri chik team da 당신 참새사야 된저 가와저 겐다저 kabri 통시 그랬어.
Sometimes we might feel like there are contradictions between following a law and being compassionate.
Ate 이나야 개심부식 된 거저 팀 그릭 망고직 지조려야 녀크라마요야. 당신 간사 치라바 이나야 팀게다 자원 연발로 모셔야 그체도 팀 망고주 소용 거요. 지당 그렇잖아.
In general, laws are created to prevent any disorder and chaos in the society, right? That's the preventative measures.
근데 인도 배난 낭주랑 털으식 쉬버이나 낭주랑게 털어야 가서 추팀스체네. 야 직팀 그릭 된데 망고 열어 왔다 계급 쉬어신거 소여신거 팀 말에들래 얘나야 미디 자원 연발로 모셔야다. 텔레데네 지조로 녀크로 마서야게 체도 어디 채는 디기 말에 디 채는 디기 말에 사게 팀그릭 망고시오레 조 미드 상부차야다 지조로 뇌경 슈긴 까야 체도 되는 망고요레스.
In Buddhism, we don't use the term laws, but in that context we use the word ethics or morality. Sultim, the Sanskrit word is shila. So there's many different levels of shila or ethics, which are sort of a preventative measures that one must not indulge in any harmful actions, negative actions, because that would be destructive to the self, and that could also be destructive to the others and the society. So to prevent such unnecessary and negative effects, so ethics are formulated.
학바도 지역에 나로라야 꿀롱데 뱀미세베 로아 개침 무슨 거요래 빼는 파조직 내가 독자지 싫어 지기 유바이나 이내야 뒷극답치야 개침 보임바 따디까네 직배나 계제 잠부를 시 딘데지 많이 보이나 양 탑람 딘데 톤 어디 채널 지금 말해서기 지금 딘데기 톤이라 간제 탑람 드미기 톤에 쿠란 차왕 연발을 슝니 풀이야 강에 침부 뭐 슝야기 체도 탑람 드미기 톤에 가야디 개침 무슨 거요 딘데 인도 상발이야 타직도 말한서 꿀롱 상배 톤에 즉 소여생교기 팀 되다 양 잠재사야 니디 타지도 가와 패신 책이요 말았어. 냠도 좋토요 망고 연구를 쓴 거였어.
In Buddhism or Buddha Dharma, we call it, so much emphasis is put on motivation. We call kundelong. And so the motivation is very instrumental. Let's say if somebody is going to do something bad. So with proper motivation, you prevent that person from carrying out the bad action. Well, you might start off in a very skillful, peaceful way, right? Diplomatic way, if you like it, right? Well, if that is kind of falling on a deaf ear, you might find other skillful ways to prevent the person from. So sometimes those other ways could also, for lack of a better word in English, we call it a wrathful bit of a way. But because your motivation is good and you want that person to stop doing the bad thing, for himself or herself, right? Because it's very destructive. And so in that sense, we don't see a contradiction between, right, the ethics, the law in this context, and being compassionate and trying to be helpful.
아주 레 낭초 나롤 페나 레 사야 키치 순구요레 조 나글라 나민카르레 스네 페나 게겐지기 부글이야 다 부그디 롭종 약보직다 저바 약보 차야게 체도 겁리 데스지 넘주 칼로리 타고 더시 거를 때야 더시 로 딱거를 마치 랑지식 로 이내야 디더부 차신 파다디 데지 계제 숙청부를 시기 요래 게겐데 순구 요래 들래 이내야 디 군론 딘레지기 왕기 군론 팬섬지기 왕기 부글 딥 마치 디 채널 디기 마레스 까 딘데 체인도 삼발라 딘나민데 야고 순구 요래스
Just give you a very simple example to demonstrate the point I'm making. Of course, in Buddhism, there's so much explanation about the law of karma, karmic action. And so it is a very complex concept. Sometimes the action itself on the outside may look a little rough and serious, but if it's intended for a better result, positive, then it's okay. like a teacher who has so much love and compassion for the student or disciple, and tries to advise nicely. If the student is not listening, then the teacher can show what you Americans call tough love, right? Show the serious face, little like wrathful face, So that kind of facial expression and the behavior, maybe even the words, look a little rough on our side, but basically the intention is to help the student behave properly, right? A better outcome result. So that is allowed. So that. Okay, so I'm looking at the time. Maybe do we have any question? If not, I'm sure there are other things you will do at the end. Sometimes it requires time. Let me say just a few words in kind of. So we have a performance as well. I told you. So okay, I will hold my words here. Go ahead. Oh, there's a question. Oh, I thought somebody with the lute, he's going to perform.
nganzo nangba inza nganzo nyama po rang pumbu chi ani lo mangbo je la nangba cha ni tande bede gongsa jo zuwe ani gishilama nembe nganzo po mi mangla naya da po mi mang nganzo lobjang naya chi nganzo nyemle na karere dikba je mi sha ji gyo pen so ba sha sa rang sin yong sin den sang ji dan ba da rang simba ga namni ani champagne to do song do 천지 준된 민의 손치 아니 아주 도스 니마토바 라병고래 디지라 로정 측제만 달라 신지 저도기 종카는 걸 제가 좀 측딘디원데 참아 셈지가 누군도 와서 난존 딘디 랍고래 라고라게 미마 셈지 예지 다야 미마 팬딘디 용구도 다 디와데가 와서 건주 이슬람다 아니 단다 주 크라운즈 미팅 나고 딘디 랍자 유아르베스 디와직지 Dindi labja you are best. Dibachi message dindi konzo na lo dindi message dan dindi labja you are best diwachi. Niwa di konzo pechi jio ngasi kim malimba du chak jio ngasi kim malinda lindi o marwa konzo. Lindi me zang oni konzo dangi songdo je na manshio konzo judge oni creator dan jikting goba bole gorwa. Goba bo dos kuchi mimang dos sha gores. Oni tanda mang jian chi 특바 쉬어치 미모주 참아 쿠랑 가드 쿠랑 크레디트 쿠랑 강진데 수주르베 데 간데슬리어와 쿠라미 크레이터 와스 참바르와 지워르와 가리지니 미마 유어치 오레스 가시는 양지 망지 칭가시 종진디 가리지 차고르 바에서 어디와 내려공소 도시나.
So I hope I'll do justice what he said because he was saying a lot of things. So he said to the extent he had learned from the Tibetan Buddhism that we are following and from the teachers as he tried to reference some texts Buddhists, that there's so much emphasis, for example, that we should not indulge in negative actions, karmic, and we should do the positive things and try to subdue or tame your mind. So that is the Buddha Dharma, right? And then in the minor teachings of mind training Lojong, there's so much emphasis on other-oriented focus, right? To be more kind and compassionate towards others. So he has two questions now. That's his background stuff. The first question is, in all the religions, faiths you represent, are there things, similar ones, like the focus on, say, taming your mind and focus more on others, right? That's number one question. And the number two is that in Buddhism and religions where we believe in reincarnation and the life after, so there is emphasis on the law of karma, right? Do good, have good here and hereafter. But in many theistic religions, you have a God as a creator. So you may not believe in the life after, right? Rebirth and all of those things. So if creator has created everything, like here, so how do we explain the lot of unwanted things happening in the world, right? Do we subscribe that to the creator, or could you explain it in some other way? So those are the two questions. Who would like to start first? Yes, Ms. Arora.
Well, the classic Hinduism does not really believe in a creator. if we see the world, the natural world, nothing is created. It all evolves. Okay? You put a seed on the earth and a tree evolves. Put a semen in a woman's womb, a child evolves. So everything evolves. Nothing is created. So and if you go to Rig Veda, which is our ancient book, there is a chapter on what's called Hiranya Garbh. Hiranya means golden and Garbh means womb. And it says that in nothingness there was a golden womb that became the universe. So there's no creator. The other thing I would say is that Buddhism and one of the philosophies, Hindu philosophy, Vedanta, are very similar. Okay? One of the things that Vedanta says is that, thou art that. That means we are that. We are also the basic Atman, as we say, is common in all of us. And that brings us together. So there is nobody up and down. So we're very similar to what Buddhism has. Yeah. So that's
In Judaism, there's a concept that our cosmos kind of exists on two levels. There is the macrocosmic level, that level which we could metaphorically call the realm in which God exists, and God has a influence on the world, events, etc. For example, answering the question, why is there evil, or why are there bad things that happen in a world of God's creation? And for that, in that macrocosmic world, there may be something that there is a way of the universe, laws of the universe. But as human beings, we can never totally comprehend that macrocosmic world. That's where the metaphor comes in. We can approximate it, we can try to describe it, we can try to understand it, but we could never exist within that macrocosmic level. Because in reality, we live our lives in the microcosm, in the universe of our own existence. And given the tools of intellect, spirit, and of learning, we exist and operate based on our beliefs. With that, we are to act in this world as if, or there's a good way to put it, pray as if everything depends upon God, but act as if everything depends upon you. The macrocosmic may be that God is the source of all. Our reality is, but we operate as best we can as human beings to be the best iteration of ourselves that we can be. So there may be ultimate reasons for good and evil, etc., but in our lives, what are the choices we make based on our hopes to be the kind of people that we're supposed to be?
Thank you. Dr. Khan.
That's really a difficult question to answer. The Quran says in one of the surahs, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. I have created man or human being in the best of molds, but then it can go to the other extreme and become like the devil. So the idea is that in humanity you will find people who are close to angels and people who are close to devils. Okay. This is God's plan. And God has given you aql salim, intellect. In other words, you have free will. You have limited free will. And you are supposed to decide which way you want to go, the good path or the evil path. You have that free will. If you did not have that free will, you would be an angel, right? You could not do anything wrong. But God did not want that. He or she or it, we do not believe in God to be in anthropomorphic or human terms. So anyway, God did not want that. He has given us free will. You are free to decide which way you want to go, the good or the evil, basically. And it's all this put together, which is our world. We've got lots of evil going on, but at the same time, lots and lots of good. By the grace and mercy of God, 80–90% of the humanity is good. There are some outliers, and that's part of God's plan.
Thank you, everyone. And let me see if I can translate what you said. In essence, the Tango Song the Kushab ARORA, the Quran, the Hindu, the Sonza, any Casa Chebabo, Casa Killing Mares, any Karsogore, that and the Vidanda, second was the Rigen and Mangoyorwa, Tiktavina, and around the Nangbesh, the WWRS, and a chick Karso, and then Taxin Yam just search maybe Tars and a share, says and Tars search maybe, or this or something the Yores are. That thing around the chamber of Shredwa. That on the beginning on the Rabbi Jew Cross Sunday Canlia, and that Jigdeco sometime winner, Cosmos, the Jigden chapter of another Nambation that Joan Alchishigo or Jigden Chada, this is Contichigo Girwa, just that Gachesan and macro level city Shavina, Delia Kunjo Nediores, and Yagdu Kanga Kunjo with Cheveres. In an underdoor missing and the dinner Massa del Te, the Kunjogi Konga Chamachi, and Zergi, and a thought where Yomares, and the door me. Chatanganzo around the Tanda Yusa Sata Mige, and the Saigan Yusa Delia, and Sosalia Yagdu Karichung with this social Namju Pijay in Roa, Ije Karichan D. Chungder Res, or the Neshigores, at the Quran's Durdi Shevina. That under the Casa Dr. Khan, like Sona Chevimina. KHAN to what the Lela which late up to the York South Race or in a Corsoconjo, Harrison, the Yadu Niga service race, Rovada, Chilayu, the Yawa Niga, Yamanani, and it landed down the Castle Fadigedi. In a Conjogi and another Misso Solia, and a summer town to a university or so the free will, Damka Chetway. Says our social Namju pages, social Damka Chevchene. And a conjure Yaksa station, Yaksa del Roto Chevres, and Tusa del Chevene, social Chevres, social Danga Nobre, this social Chunier, social Tumde Chevres, or that in there soon the door to know Conan dish, and Machine Conan Chevena, Sidang and the me to do care you over the Jaju could just yak Mikanga Yakuta rest, but the Tuaske Yomarisa. That in the young Shena within the Yore. You know, the young Tuesday, they get the Serong, I didn't do them showers, I didn't come yet down to the young Judo. I like a Tamia time on the program.
Cultural performance. Next.
I think they have the program, so I don't know where we are going. So we are a little bit in the cosmos, macro level. I don't understand what the God is doing here.
Let's first give a round of applause to all the panelists. So next we have some musical performances prepared to celebrate our unity and shared humanity. So first, please welcome TENZIN and Dogala for a special performance of We Are One.
Billion people, one humanity, love universal language, one big family. Love will make a difference. With compassion we can see. Our hope brings us together. Love will set us free. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one if we stand together. We are one if we're worlds apart. We are one if we love another. We are one no matter where we are. We are one when we help a brother. We are one when we lift a heart. We are one when we choose compassion. We are one no matter where we are. We are one. We are one. We are one. With compassion. Love is the force that leads us on. We are 7 billion people. We are one humanity. Love is universal language. We are one big family. We are one. We turn fear to understanding, hate to harmony. Let the universe inside of us teach great diversity. And on love we build a future. With actions create peace. Reaching out with helping hands make change reality. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. With compassion. Love is the force that leads us on. We are 7 billion people. We are one humanity. Love is universal language. We are one big family. We are 7 billion people. We are one humanity. Love is universal language. We are one big family. We are one. We are one if we're worlds apart. We are one if we love another. We are one no matter where we are. We are one when we help a brother. We are one when we lift a heart. We are one when we choose compassion. We are one great work of art. We are 7 billion people. We are one humanity. Love is universal language. We are one big family. We are 7 billion people. We are one humanity. Love is universal language. We are one big family. We are one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chunila and Dogala, for the beautiful song. Next, we have Jambela, who will be performing a traditional song dance that's popular in Lhasa, the capital city of Tibet, called Nangma Döshe.
Your Eminence Kundeling Tazarumchi and other panel respected honorable doctorates. And this is my second time coming here. Last year I was here and I was performing the traditional songs regarding the 6th Dalai Lama, which verses says, and I will be returned back from Litang, as in 7th Dalai Lama. And this song refers to 7th Dalai Lama, and Nangmiki Benyima is a blissful sunshine. And during that very difficult political situation in Tibet, and His Holiness 7th had a great difficulty
coming back to Potala due to Hassan Khan's invasion. So, and this refers to finally he got enthroned. So this is regarding the Nama Kibenyima blissful sunshine. Tujna. nervous and didn't do well. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jambala, for the wonderful performance. And for our final performance, we have Tenzin Pintola. Oh, apologies, change of plans here. So let's give a round of applause for our two performers, Chunila Dogala and Jambala. And next, we now come to a very special part of our program, the scarf ceremony and presentation of appreciation awards to our distinguished panelists and moderator. This is a small gesture of our immense gratitude for your wisdom, compassion, and presence today. I'd like to invite Pastor Wangchula to present the awards.
As you're getting ready there, I'll take a minute to sort of conclude this, right? We don't have much time. I'm really most grateful to all the panelists here. You share really nuggets of insight and wisdom based on your faith. I personally have been very much educated once again, and I'm sure everybody else feels in the same way. And of course, I don't have time to summarize everything because of all the performance we have here. That's wonderful to enjoy. I just want to say that His Holiness the Dalai Lama has celebrated his golden age, happy birthday, 91, and United States Senate has unanimously passed a resolution to mark July 6th as the Day of Compassion in honor of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We want to thank the Senate very much. And Central Tibetan Administration in India has marked this whole year as the Year of Compassion. So we are doing a lot of activities to honor His Holiness' life and activities, and this panel is part of that. So once again, thank you very much. And as they're going to thank all the panelists personally, I'm just going to sign it off from here. Thank you everyone for being here, and thank you for following us live streaming. Yeah.
Rinpoche would like to express gratitude to all the panelists and offer some gifts.
longevity. You are going to live very long and healthy, inshallah. Got it. He would like to present you with this memento. These are the 6 symbols of longevity. So every one of you will live long and healthy and do the good things in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One last thing I just forgot to say is on behalf of all of us here panelists, we would like to thank Lord Samtundullah and His Eminence, the KUNDELING TAKTSAK Rinpoche's reception committee for inviting all of us here and organizing this panel. Thank you very much. Tojichena.
So as we come to the close of this beautiful gathering, I'd like to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to those who made today so meaningful. First and foremost, I extend my deepest gratitude to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, whose wisdom and compassion have inspired this program and encouraged us all to cultivate greater kindness and empathy. My heartfelt thanks to Rinpoche La for visiting Portland once again and gracing us with your presence. It's an honor and a blessing to have you with us. To our incredible panelists, thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and insight with our community. Your contributions have truly enriched today's dialogue. A warm thank you to our moderator as well. Your steady guidance and warm presence helped everything flow so smoothly. We truly appreciate the time and care you brought to this role. A heartfelt thank you goes to our local monks who began our gathering by reciting prayers and offering blessings. Your presence brings peace and spiritual grounding to the event. We are also deeply grateful to Pastor Wanchula for being with us today and for your ongoing support. To the KUNDELING Reception Committee of Portland, thank you for your tireless work and dedication. This event would not have been possible without your commitment and effort behind the scenes. We have the Geshe group and Tashi Shopa group who performed twice, yesterday and today. Thank you so much for always being there. And let's give a round of applause to Pasang Norkila and Tenzin Wangela. Pasang La came all the way from New York to help us with the live broadcast, and Tenzin Wangela is our photographer here for today's event. And finally, to all the volunteers, our kitchen helpers, servers, performers, and especially Ladon La for the stunning floral arrangements. This event simply would not have happened without your generosity and hard work. You've truly made this day special. Thank you. And thank you all again for being here today. May the compassion of wisdom we've shared today carry forward into our lives and communities. Thank you. So before we part our ways, a quick note on lunch arrangements. Lunch for Rinpoche and panelists and the moderator will be served in the main hall. And for the general public, lunch will be available in the foyer. Thank you once again.